Welcome back to the OwnersBox YouTube channel. We are back after I don't want to call it a wild card weekend or a super wild card weekend, because there were definitely some blowouts. And I guess that's what happens when we expand the NFL playoffs. Last year, I don't think we got this, but this year, bit of a letdown. Today, we'll talk about each and every game from the weekend. I guess I'd even put this in my notes, so maybe we talk a bit about Cardinals and Rams tonight as well on Monday night. But let's start Bengals Raiders. That is where the ref show began, fellas. Where do we stand on the touchdown call? Avery, I'll start with you.
I was pumped. I wrote about Tyler Boyd in my article, though, so I'm fine that they didn't call it dead.
Undervalued
player. I said, hey, he finds his way to the end zone 4 straight games, not so bad. But I mean, the rule book says if they blow it dead, the play's done, right? So how are we not following rules here? Jerome Boger, they're not going to ref again this playoffs, it seems like, which I think you need to be held accountable. And like the players are held accountable, the coaches are held accountable, and the refs definitely need to be held accountable. That was a horrible effort.
Yeah, so strange. I know their explanation was that the whistle came, in their eyes, the whistle came after the catch, which just is completely not true. But it's like the thing is that at the end of the day, the whistle did not, do any of us think the whistle impacted whether or not that ball was going to be caught?
No players stopped. You didn't see anyone
that would be the thing, is if there's like any hesitation from a defensive player, either any player on either side, they call it dead, right? But if they continue to play, that's why it's not as bad. But the rule states, like, if the whistle goes, like, and obviously it was on the Raiders. I know T-Mac, you were too. I don't know, Avery, you were, I forget. But the ref show was not just Saturday either. It continued all week. And I feel like every game I was on, I had a pretty subpar week on my picks this week, but I feel like every game I was on, anytime there's a positive play, especially in this Raiders game, like anytime there was a 20+ yard play, there was a holding call or some flag too that was into that. So
I think it shows because they're a shitty football team. Like
they're not disciplined. There's a lot of shit. Like that would be the one team in the playoffs, the least disciplined team. But
we'll talk about the Cowboys later, but holy shit, what a horrible franchise.
That was lack of discipline. They had like 15 penalties. They were worse than the Raiders in terms of penalties.
But I think this game is way closer than it should have been. Obviously, the Bengals don't score on a lot of opportunities. So I listened to the first half in the car, and obviously the Raiders, the turnovers, the car fumble, and they only turned into 3 points. I think they did it twice where they started in the Raiders zone and only turned it into field goals. For a team that's that explosive, for an offense that needs to take advantage of those types of plays, they really didn't show what they needed to show to win in the playoffs. Like, they beat the Raiders, but the Titans are a whole different team.
My thing about Derek Carr, I just want to add about the turnovers, and that's something we expected. We even talked about that last week when we did our preview for this game, but Derek Carr has had a turnover, at least an interception or a fumble, in 5 of the last 6 games, including this game. So 5 of the last regular season games, and then once again in the playoffs. Like, you can't win like that. And it was a close game until the end there too. Like, they had their chances, that's for sure. But I think, Derek Carr playing like that, turning the ball over, is just not a recipe for winning. And as I was seeing that, the fumble, it was just horrible. I mean, just set the Bengals up for points. So I definitely was a little upset watching that game. I'm not ultimately surprised due to the stat I just gave you, but yeah, the Raiders, just too many turnovers, too many mistakes, and cost them obviously in the end.
Yeah, you go to the one you mentioned, Abe, with that turnover. And then I also thought that that Renfro no catch call. I know I'm talking about stuff because I bet the Raiders.
Yeah.
I thought that one was really interesting because I thought he caught the ball and it took like a couple steps. And obviously the ball came out after he secured the catch, brought it down to his waist, and then it was punched out. I've seen other calls this year that made me think that this would definitely be a catch. Yeah. And then that drive ended with a field goal. So we talk about the turnover, we talk about that drive, and the both teams, this was an exciting game, I thought, but the Bengals were kept the Raiders like an arm's length away. It seemed like it was a 10-point game for 40 minutes of this game.
Also at the end there, the Derek Carr, he gets the ball inside to the 10, right? Like last drive of the game. Why the hell would he spike the ball when all his players were ready to go at the line of scrimmage too?
Yeah. Just throw it at the end zone or something.
You have to try and run something there, I thought. Because was there time left on the 4th down play? There had to have been 2 or 3 seconds, I thought, maybe.
More than that, because
there was more,
20 seconds. I think Burrow kneeled the ball out, right?
And so then it mmade no sense why he spiked the ball on that.
Not at all. We were watching the game. I was watching the game with buddies, and one of them was yelling to spike the ball. I'm like, there's 50 seconds left. That you get 4 plays at this. You can't waste one of these plays. There's no moving the chains, right? It's goal to go. You need a penalty for any type of reset of downs. So
I agree. You're moving 5 yards to go get to the ball, right?
Yeah, exactly. The penalty's not going to do too much for you either. One thing that I think this was a case of a bit of regression too. Obviously, these things don't correlate with each other, but the Raiders had 6 walk-off wins this year. Somebody said that to me.
That's insane.
We started counting them. I'm like, I could think of 4 just off the top of my head. And then we found a couple other ones like the Ravens, the Colts, the Chargers, and what's the other one that I know for sure? I'm missing it, but there's a few that you could just think of just from quickly thinking about their season that are walk-off wins that they've had. So this was a scenario for another chance at a walk-off win. I'm a little bit concerned as we look ahead for the Raiders to next year. We'll talk about the Bengals and moving on, but could we see some regression considering how successful they were in these gotta have it moments that are kind of one play and they kind of executed at a really high percentage?
It's kind of like the turnover battle, right? We talked about it for Indiana college football last year. You're not going to get that lucky all the time. Sure, you might say Derek Carr's a good quarterback. He's leading them because he's good. I don't think anyone thinks Derek Carr's that good of a quarterback. So I'd say it's more of a lucky thing, just how the game plays out. I think they're going to be on the opposite side of this 1-score game type record next year, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
You can't keep that trend going. And as I said, the Derek Carr turnover, those will be more telling on what's going to happen in terms of result of games than these lucky end of game scenarios will be, right? So that's kind of where my head's at. I think we see some regression too, T-Mac.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where the Raiders take things from here. 2 things on the coaches actually from post game is I saw a tweet that Rich Bisaccia was writing notes to each and every guy on the team, thanking them after the season. You see that, Sandy? I know Avery. I can tell.
I didn't see it. No, I didn't see it.
He's in his hotel room. You can tell he's just grinding away. How many players are on that roster too? That's at least 53, right?
Yeah, at least.
He's a team guy. Yeah, that's a guy's guy. It's a player's coach right there.
Would you? So they don't. I didn't think they would fire him, right? Say they want another coach. Would you offer his job as special teams coach back to him?
Yeah, definitely.
Would you? If you're a head coach, do you?
I know what you're saying. Are you okay with a guy already being in place and you not being able to decide? Is that what you mean?
Because if they sound like the players love him.
Yeah,
dude, the guy's been through so much. You got to give him some credit. He's obviously not going to be the head coach of the team. I don't think
in the NFL. Do you?
You said last week that you thought he would be
the Raiders coach. I don't think so, man. I don't know. After that was before the game. If they won that game, I just think they're going to be looking for a coach. They went from Gruden to him, and there's obviously been a lot of turmoil. I think they keep him on. I'm on Avery's narrative here, but the more I think about it,
I thought he wouldn't come back. I thought
that's what Dave thought. Yeah.
No, but you just asked the question I meant right here.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
In your scenario,
special teams,
they want to keep that guy around. I'm sure if the players really like him, but a new coach is definitely gonna. I just don't see a reason why it doesn't.
My God, I see so many. Look at I don't know if this is kind of what's the word they use? Just a little bit of a makeup, a little bit extra from him here to kind of make it look like he's a big team guy. Top. Yeah, the cherry on top type deal. Yeah. Try to sell it to ownership that he should still be the head coach, but I think he's going to get it. I think culture plays a big part in, a 17 game regular season, then get into the playoffs. It was really a good year. I thought it was a good year for the Raiders. Obviously consider all things considered. But I do think there's going to be an issue with Bisaccia in terms of regression next year. And that might make fans think, why did we bring our special teams head coach? Why did we turn our special teams coach into our head coach? Look what happened when it kind of wore off his initial start. So what do you guys think next year, Raiders wise?
Less wins, under 500. I thought they're going to be one of the worst teams in football this year. I'm not going to lie. I took their win total under. I thought they were going to be dog awful.
What was that line at, Avery?
7.5.
Oh, shit.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So I don't know. I see regression I don't think they'll make the playoffs next year. That's for sure. No, at least where I stand.
The Chargers have to be better than them.
And that was the thing. I don't want to get T-Mac going on this, but like there was ever Twitter last night. They were like, imagine the Chargers right now playing this game. Like it happened twice over the weekend.
We'll get
I don't want to, we'll get to it. But I just like the Raiders, back to the Raiders. I just don't see them. Like this is a win of a season for them. Like through what they've been through, the coaching issues, like this is probably the most a team's been through in a season span and like ever. So I think the fact that they made the playoffs, had a competitive game, had the chance to win it, I think that it's a win. And I definitely think there's regression coming for 2022.
There should be a movie on this team, to be honest.
30 for 30 coming soon for sure.
Yeah.
The fact that they made the playoffs through all the shit that they went through is all time.
Yeah.
Yeah. The fashion in which they made it too was even crazier.
Yeah.
Last thing before we move on, I also want to give some respect to Derek Carr because of these moments they've had this year, these game-winning type drives. He's on the precipice of like a top 14, 15 quarterback in the NFL. I think he's someone you can definitely win with. I don't think you can win a Super Bowl with him, but Jimmy Garoppolo went to a Super Bowl, so maybe the right group. But I do think, I think him and Kirk Cousins are eerily in terms of what I can do with them, how I can win, to what extent I can win. I think they're very similar. So Derek Carr, I think over the last 2 or 3 years has really earned a lot of respect from not just people in the media, but I think GMs and everyone around the league.
He kind of has that Russ thing too, where he just goes crazy the first couple of weeks of the year and then kind of falls off a little bit.
Yeah,
we did have that.
Yeah, we know that.
Say you're a Browns fan. I know we're not, I guess this is over. Do you want Baker Mayfield, Kirk Cousins, or Derek Carr? Your choice of 3 quarterbacks. I know they're not going to have them.
Kirk Cousins.
I'd probably slightly go Cousins. I would take either one though. I think
Cousins, Carr, Baker Mayfield. I'm a hater.
Yeah, I think I go Carr, Cousins, Baker.
Yeah.
I don't hate Baker, but
I don't either. I like to see him do well, but I just can't over those two guys.
Bengals side, of course, they're moving on to play the Titans. I am a little bit worried. We'll be doing our game previews this week on the YouTube channel, so make sure you're checking those out. I am a little bit worried because they did have some injuries. Hendrickson with the concussion, can he come back for a Saturday game? Right, that Saturday against the Titans. Yeah. So if they don't have the healthy on the defensive front, and they haven't been that great against the run, Derrick Henry coming back. But again, Joe Burrow did a great job this past week, and the Bengals look like a team you don't want to be playing. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Bills Patriots Saturday night. I was so excited for this game. I said to you guys earlier this week that I thought this would be the game of the week. It was not. The perfect offensive NFL performance. No punts, all touchdowns, every drive, no field goals, except for a kneel, the only drive that didn't end in a touchdown. But I want to make sure people remember that Tyler Bass missed a few XPs, but what a game from Josh Allen.
Yeah, I mean, the Bills just did what they had to do. Like I was on the Bills -4. I actually didn't give it out. Like I like the Raiders much more when I gave it out last week than I did like the Bills. But I mean, -4 is the spread. They came out first half, they crushed it. I mean, drive after drive. Josh Allen put like a record performance in the first half. Like I certainly didn't expect that. Like one of the things I was looking for is Bill to like drop a scheme. We talked about all this too high stuff last week. Like it was just funny to see Josh Allen look so prepared. That offense looked great. Like they were doing anything they wanted in that game. Yeah. And that makes me think like they're going to Kansas City next week, right? Or is it? No, is it in Buffalo?
No, they're going to Kansas City.
Going to Kansas City, and the spread is Kansas City -2. I'm sure that's just home field. Like this probably on a neutral side be a pretty even game. Like I don't know, man. The Bills are playing crazy. I don't really give much credit to the Chiefs. The Steelers are horrible, but the Bills, man, I'm impressed. I definitely think they have a very strong chance to get out of the AFC.
Super complete team. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is what I saw before the Chiefs game. Since the NFL went to 12 playoff teams in 1990, teams that have scored 40 plus in the wild card round and won are just 3-12 in the next round.
Damn.
But it sucked that the Chiefs did that. That was before the Chiefs game. So the Packers really lost to the Cardinals in 2009, and then the Chiefs lost to the Colts in 2013. But I mean, the Bills, man, they look good. I think everyone's going to be on the Bills, and it's perfect time for me to hit the Chiefs. I know I'm not going to be on the previews. So I kind of like the Chiefs, but Josh Allen's passer rating between games seems to just go up and down, up and down. So I think I wouldn't be surprised if the Bills score like 14 points next week.
Man, I was to your point with the scoring 40 plus. Obviously, it doesn't apply because both teams did. I thought it was a little bit like, hey, if you're a Super Bowl contender, why are you so concerned with absolutely fucking clowning your wild card opponent? Like getting into the offensive linemen. We need to fucking throw the ball on every drive. I kind of thought that was a little bit much and unnecessary. Like this game could have been over at, 30, whatever it was, 34, whatever the score was earlier when they were 30 plus points. I thought there was a little bit, a little bit of a clowning for sure. And I think they were a little bit too focused on that.
And I think Bill Belichick had a horrible game plan, obviously. So that needs to not go over everyone's head, right? He had a pretty good year. Maybe
that's a trend. And that's a trend or something that would happen that we never would have guessed, right? I think everyone on this show was expecting some big time stuff from him, at least, some creative stuff defensively, especially against this offense.
We're on the Bills though, right?
Yeah, I think we all were. Yeah.
I was on the over. I didn't have a side, but I was on the over. Yeah. That was nice. Only thing that I had a same game parlay, and the only thing I missed was, believe it or not, a Bills wide receiver receiving yards. The only guy I think that didn't do anything last night on Saturday night was Cole Beasley, and I had his receiving yards over. The other thing that I wanted to mention from the Patriots was just that. What was that around halftime? They went for it, right? Midfield, they went for it. Try to remember now. And I thought it was kind of a position where they were down. Oh yeah. They were down 17-0, right? I think is what the score. No, was it more than that? You guys remember?
I was at dinner when I'm on West Coast time. So I was at dinner right before halftime picking some stuff up. So I didn't see that play.
But I thought they went for it for kind of usually Bill is easy to punt, especially on those short goals or, 4th and 1 from near midfield. He's usually punting from there. The Patriots definitely let things get away from them early in that game and in going into the second half. I love that people were talking about 28-3 because it was 27-3. Like there was any chance in hell that this team was ever coming back.
Well, it's Julian Edelman that was talking about it. That was the issue.
Yeah. Former Patriot, I guess. Anything else from this game? I mean, let's maybe dive, because I really like the Bills, and I am scared that I think a lot of people saw what happened and will like the Bills this coming week. I thought defense looked fantastic. Oh, that's what I was thinking. That interception was absolutely bananas. Did you remember? Do you guys see that play?
Which is that play? The Hyde one?
Yeah, the Hyde interception.
Oh, that was incredible.
To Aguilar,
yeah,
right?
Of course. Yeah, deep in the end zone. That was insane.
Oh my God. When I was watching that play live, and they said that was an interception. I'm like, there's a zero. I was like, there's no way he actually caught the ball, because he made up a ridiculous amount of range. It looked like Aguilar was wide open, and he's still probably one of the best defensive plays I've seen this year.
Yeah. I mean, Micah Hyde, Micah Hyde's been one of those guys, been doing it forever. Like he was on the Packers for a good amount of time, was incredible on the Packers, and then obviously went to the Bills. He's just been doing it for so long. That play was incredible. I've never seen him track down a ball like that. I know he's very, he's a smart mind on defense. He must have caught that, but he made up a ton of ground. I mean, that's a receiver catch right there. Like that is literally something you'd see from a wide out. So, I mean, I was pretty lost to words. It's pretty telling of the way the game was going to when that happened. So I was just in shock at the play.
That was a play that I felt like the Patriots could grab life on too, if that was a touchdoand. Because I think it was still fairly early. I don't know what the score was. I think it was probably 14
nothing. I think, yeah.
Last thing to wrap this game up, where are the Patriots going from this year? Does Bill need to do anything with, the coaching personnel, anything like that? Or is this just, a good year for the Pats, and we'll be back next year? Because I mean, they spent a lot of money.
It's a rebuild that went too well a year too early, maybe I'd say. So get the fans excited, get the team excited. I think they did better than they expected to be this year, especially with Mac Jones as rookie. They're fine. They're the second best team in the East. Right? Can't really be too mad about it.
I think they'll be fine too. I'm going to be betting on Bill Belichick to have those guys ready to go next year. But again, I agree with Avery State. They did overperform what was expected. I think Mac Jones had an incredible year. He's definitely, I know he didn't play great. He had some interceptions, but he's definitely their guy going forward. They're going to build around him. So I think there's still, a good amount of positivity around that fan base, even though they're used to winning every year. And it was funny to see, for me, I went to university. All my roommates were Patriots fans. So it's kind of fun for me to dog them a bit in this one.
Yeah. Felt good.
So I felt good. It felt good for once after all these fucking years of Boston sports, but I think they'll be just fine and, right back at it again next year.
One problem I've had with a few of the people that I am friends with that are Patriots fans is they talk about Bill Belichick as if, and we'll say like, we've won Super Bowls without like weapon, like big time players, like a big time receiver, big time running back. And it's like, I don't really think that that's true because Tom Brady is proving that he's the best quarterback in the NFL. And then he also had, at one point it was Randy Moss. At other points, It was Rob Gronkowski to throw the ball to. So I don't think this is a team that with Mac Jones at quarterback that can be truly a Super Bowl contender without like a legitimate star pass catcher or probably preferably for Bill as a really good young running back. I think he'll probably just continue to cycle the wheel of investing in running backs in the middle parts of the draft.
If you're Calvin Ridley, do you want to play for the Patriots?
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to a winning
stories.
franchise. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know
hear
if
stories
end up there, but one more thing about Pats fans, like my biggest thing on the weekend, and this is another thing that just eats me alive, is when Patriots fans, they lose the game the night, like they lose Saturday night. And then the next day they're just all in on Tom. They're all Buccaneers fans. They're all fucking Buccaneers fans. I can't stand it. It's my least favorite thing. It's like, I get Tom Brady's great. I get he's your guy. He's won so many championships for you guys, but that shit eats me alive. Like I fucking hate that. So I can't stand people that do that. I have so many friends and Patriots fans that did that. It just makes me sick.
It's also a topic that's hard to argue against because you're like, why would you, he's not on your team anymore. And then they tell you like, what do you mean? I grew up with like this guy. I grew up my entire life rooting for this guy. He won me all these championships. They treat it as a thing like the least I could do is root him on. Like he gives
maybe I'm a scumbag for saying that, but it just fucking pisses me off. I can't stand it.
Yeah. No, I
saw a good tweet. The picture of Bama from Mac Jones, Jalen Hurts, and Tua.
Yeah.
And the caption was, "This is the most mid picture of all time based on their performance." Like just not good.
No. Okay. Let's go. Speaking of Alabama quarterbacks, let's go to the Bucks and the Eagles. Bucks 31, Eagles 15. We talked about this beforehand, and this is why I liked. I snuck in with the under and liked the Bucks as well. Was that this game played out the same way it did the last time they played? Like Jalen Hurts was terrible throwing the football; they couldn't run it.
No, it was Jalen Hurts was bad, very bad.
Yes.
The running game was okay, but the Bucks, the defense came to play again. Tom Brady Mike Evans was awesome, right? And for that team to be good, like they need Mike Evans to be their best player besides Tom Brady. They didn't run the ball too much, but it went exactly as the last game went. They came back in the end, last second touchdown, made it look closer than it was.
Yeah, I mean,
they didn't run the ball at all either. The Bucks, my God, they were throwing like they were up, whatever it was, 28-0. 24-0, and they were still throwing it. Like even to just burn clock, they were still throwing the ball instead of, trying to burn 40 seconds, run the football, punt it back. They did not want to give the ball back at all. I guess they were concerned about the back door as much as we all were last time.
I was sweating. I actually teased the Eagles. I didn't love them that much. I threw it to 14.5 and they just missed that number by scoring a couple touchdowns late. But yeah, Mike Evans, great game. Him and Brady have a great connection. I think, Gronk getting a touchdown. He wanted to get Gronk one in the playoffs. You saw that it was like on the 1 yard line, a little punt, like a play action, just dumped to Gronk. Like, got to get your guy a touchdown, So
I cannot believe how lackluster the coverage was on that play. They were just,
he was sitting there. That was just like the nail gun. I'm like, this is like the Evans touchdown was the real nail gun, but just seeing Gronk get in, like it was deflating, man. Yeah. It's just not great, but not surprised to say the least.
So I think maybe let's go to like a Hurts future check type deal. I think you guys agreed with this, but I said weeks ago now that I do think he's a player that the Eagles can continue to build around. He might not be that's what he said. Confetti quarterback. Avery was saying that.
Yeah.
Might not be a confetti quarterback, but I do think they can build around him, use these picks that they have. They don't need to draft a QB. But for a guy as mobile as he was, he made some really, really poor decisions and
poor
execution on the run too. He was moving. He was exiting the pocket way too early, I found too. And that interception he threw when he was trying to get to Devontae Smith, that play was open and he just was too late and still threw it anyway, kind of deal.
He had to square his hips to make that throw.
Well, here are my 2 points. Is like, this is a quarterback like mindset kind of thing. It's like the top tier guys, Mahomes, Rodgers, Brady, I know Brady's not getting out of the pocket, but he's making that throw. Like, it's arm strength, it's timing. Like, timing's more important than arm strength. It's like he was late on everything yesterday. Like, I don't know if they just schemed up a good defense on him, but he was late. That Quez Watkins over route in the beginning of the game. Did you see that? I think it was on Twitter yesterday. Quez Watkins was in the slot running an over route. Literally, he throws the ball 45 yards in the air, puts in his basket. It's a touchdown. There wasn't even
Warren Sharp tweeted that.
Yeah, I saw it a couple of times on Twitter. Philly fans were just in a fucking blender yesterday. But there was throws like that. He wasn't working to the outside. Like, they had single coverage on the outside. Guy was playing 10 yards off on like the number one receiver out wide. Like, it was mostly Devonta Smith too. They didn't throw the hook routes. They weren't throwing curls. Like, they were just throwing. He was feeding Goddard triple coverage late to him. Like, just a lot of issues on Hurts' side. I don't know if it's, lack of practice. I know he was dealing with some injuries, but the timing just wasn't there. And he was off by like a split second, which led to interceptions and bad throws. Yeah.
My favorite word to use when describing quarterbacks is layering of the football. It's basically described as like your touch, but also, if a guy's open in a particular spot in zone coverage, or not even in zone coverage, just being able to perfect not only like the height of the ball, the speed in which you throw the ball. That was what he was missing, like at a really high level this past week. And it's something he's missed all year, but it's been masked by the fact that they've been really being able to execute the run game at a really, really high level. So they don't need to ask a lot of him. Definitely a point of emphasis for him going into the off season into next year. But this is tons of opportunity with their draft picks.
Another thing is Jalen Reagor needs to go get sent to Pop Warner League, bro. I can't watch that shit. I'm sick of it. And between that and the ref show that was in this game, there was a complete ref show in this one too. That was watching him drop that punt. Like, I just was like, you got to be like, I'm not even surprised. That's why I was most frustrating. It's like, I could have seen this coming. Yeah. And he did some other bullshit on punts. He's like, there was like a PFF article about it after the game. He's like, he's like the worst punt return in the league, or bottom 3 in the league in punt returns. And they stuck him back out there. Like, most teams would switch
he went back
out there. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but I just couldn't stand that yesterday. It pissed me off.
Yeah, he struggled a bit. What were you going to say, Eve?
Just something about that too, that the Eagles fans just want him to be cut. And he just like showing no effort when he doesn't get the ball either. Like, blocking has been bad.
The other thing from our side watching the game is like, you see his body language and you just assume he doesn't care, which, there are people that you probably played with and you played, minor league sports or something like comparable to that, where you play with them. You don't think they care, but a lot of people have different ways of portraying their emotions or what you can see yourself. So really up in the air as to where his head's at.
One more thing that ticked me off too was, we get that he was drafted before Justin Jefferson. I don't know if you guys are watching. Like, I mean, come on, you guys. Like, it's not Jalen Reagor's fault he got drafted. We're over it. He played like shit. Yes, that's his fault, but he was in the front office for the Eagles making that draft pick. Like, that is on the Eagles. And they're like, every time I'll see like a quote tweet of a Reagor drop punt return, or like a bad play where he dropped it, and it's like reminder that Justin Jefferson was drafted 1 pick later. I'm like, well, we know, we fucking understand that. I couldn't stand that yesterday.
I mean, I think the Eagles could have easily ruined Justin Jefferson as well. It's just
the Eagles.
I think it's all relative, right?
One of my friends put it in, like, sent a tweet of that video of them laughing about the pick, the Vikings laughing about the pick, into a group, like a Twitter group chat, and I had to show restraint to, like, dude, there's no way you haven't seen this. Like, you have to be living under a rock to not have seen it. It comes up every other week, pretty much, with the Reagor thing. So one of my buddies did say though, he's like, not gonna lie, I thought that guy was going to be really fucking good. He wasn't an Eagles fan. He's like, I thought that guy was going to be a star. So people miss on guys. That's pretty much everything there. The BUCS, I will say though, definitely with everybody being back, like everybody that had a chance to be back played, and their defense looks very scary on paper.
Yeah,
not just on the field, but also on paper.
Yeah.
So definitely, yeah, exactly. That was the defense that won a Super Bowl that's back in its complete form now for the playoffs. So whether it's the Rams or the Cardinals, tall test for whoever's playing them in round 2 of the 2 teams. Let's go to Cowboys 49ers. I nailed this game, guys. I didn't hit the over, but I fucking nailed this game. I nailed it. I texted you guys when Elijah Mitchell found the end zone. I was so pumped. I had him first touchdown. I had him anytime touchdown. This is what I'm learning as we go into next week with the Packers, is that just because the 49ers are going to find success running the football, it doesn't mean that they're going to score points, because Kyle Shanahan is so focused on winning the time of possession battle. I thought the 49ers could have scored 35, 40 points in this game, but they were really slow paced in the second half. They just wanted to limit the amount of times they gave the 49ers the ball, because they knew they had, I don't know, did they ever get up? I don't think they ever got up more than 2 possessions, right? I think the biggest lead was 16-7.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, it was never far enough away where the only concern was running out the clock, but really well executed by the 49ers, I thought. Anything you guys have on that before we get to the Dak run? We'll get to the Dak run. Don't worry.
No, I think Jimmy Garoppolo did his best to bail out Mike McCarthy in this game. Also, some of the plays where the Niners didn't go for it were kind of questionable.
Yeah, that first one.
I thought.
That one at the end of the game, and then they went for it the next drive too.
Yeah.
Yes.
So kind of questionable what they were doing there. But I thought everyone, because people love the Niners, and if everyone loves one side, sometimes I like to go to the other side. That's kind of what I was thinking of.
That's what I did.
The Cowboys there. But the Niners played a playoff game last week already, pretty much. They played one again this week, and they were just a better football team.
Oh yeah, they are a better team than the Cowboys. I don't care about this one mistake that came near the end of the game. I think they're a better team. The thing I want to make sure I don't miss this, the thing you said about the 4th and 1 play. I don't understand how you're thought of as one of the brightest offensive minds in the sport. And the reason you are is because you're so good in your zone. Like, you're known for how great your zone run scheme is. And you have a 4th and 1 play, and you're like, yeah, I'm going to put this in the hands of the side of my team that I have no control over and am not an expert in. So I know if they went for it on 4th and 1, it technically didn't end the game because the Cowboys still had timeouts. Or there was still, not timeouts. There's still the 2-minute warning. So I think there was a chance the ball could have came back, but I really don't get how Kyle Shanahan doesn't go for that. I think he's a bit of not a hypocrite, but a bit of a really soft move.
Anti-football hating pussy, right?
Yeah. I was going to say pussy, but I don't.
Let me put it this way, because I agree with you, T-Mac. What other rushing attack or rushing scheme offense would you rather have in that 4th and 1? I couldn't, that's maybe my take. Maybe the Rams, but it's the same fucking scheme. They're literally, the 49ers run that ball, the game's over. They get a yard, it's over. You know what I mean? There's not even a chance for that last, I know the debacle with the placement of the ball with Dak, but there's not even that's not even on TV. That doesn't even happen if they just go for it. I don't know. I'm always in favor of going for it, especially with a favorable matchup. They had a favorable matchup and they could have taken advantage. So overall
there was it 2 situations there? Was it the one right before the end? And then there was another one before the 2-minute warning, right? That's what I was thinking.
There was 2. The first one is the one they didn't go for it. Then they went for it.
Yes.
Yeah. So that overall though, on this game, I lost a couple picks this weekend, won a couple, but this one stung the most for sure. In my head, I'm the 49ers are playing hot, the hot team coming to the playoffs. That's definitely a narrative. They played, as Avery said, a playoff game in week 18. This is something I should have been better at. I definitely made a mistake here. And this loss stings more than anything else on the board this weekend. It just hit home for me. I really bet Mike fucking McCarthy. That literally makes me so mad. Cause he
needs to be fired, right?
When they hired him, I was clapping. I was going, this is great. Good for the NFC. The Cowboys are going to be fucked. This guy is going to blow it. Bad decisions. I watched him for a decade. I have literally had enough of that guy. When they hired him, this is not going to last. And I don't think it will last. I think Jerry Jones, shortest fuse of any GM, shortest fuse. They are
GM. See? Look at how people think of him, Avery. They think Jerry Jones.
I think he's a GM owner.
They kept Garrett around for too long. Mike McCarthy.
If you don't think the GM has a direct line to this guy is the most active owner probably out of any.
But Avery has a good point that they kept Jason Garrett around too long, right? So how do you know they got a short fuse on McCarthy?
I wouldn't be surprised if he's out of there.
Well, I think
he's not out of there this year. He's not out of there this year.
But Kellen Moore, for someone like the league's best offense, to when they go down to calling such a horrible game plan wise, was really interesting to see. I think I saw some Cowboys fans, some of the worst fans, them and Packers fans, two of the worst fans on Twitter. I hate the Packers fans on Twitter. I'm sorry, but they just like Kellen Moore. That was a horrible game plan. Like they're happy to see him go be a coach somewhere else. I think, which doesn't really make sense for one.
I mean, the best first half. I don't think so. I don't.
No, they blame McCarthy for bad offensive play calls, and then they say how great Kellen Moore is on the good offensive play calls.
Yeah,
maybe I think
Kellen Moore.
Yeah, you know what I think my issue is I just have too much back history with this fucking guy, Mark McCarthy. Like I'm probably a little more biased. Like I'm sure I don't know what his contract was, but he'll probably be there another year. But I would love to see that guy stick around. I'd love to see him stick around, stay a little while, Mike. Come on.
Yeah, keep losing.
For someone who bet the Cowboys like I did, watching them take penalties, I couldn't believe that I bet on that team. Just watching.
What was it? 16? What was it? 16
14.
Penalties? 14
penalties.
It's a record,
postseason
history record. Yeah.
Again, ref show. Like those penalties were probably the right calls. Doesn't change the fact that game was a ref show. The Raiders Bengals game was a ref show. So I'm always on the side of less is more from the penalty side. That's for sure.
But it's like it's the penalties that they can't fuck up. It's like going off sides on defense.
Yeah.
Oh, like dude, those are. It was like a 3rd and 5. Yeah, 3rd and 5.
Randy Gregory going offside. It's like
wasn't it 3rd and 10 and then 3rd and 5 and then first down? Wasn't it?
I might have been.
Yeah, it was 3rd and 5, and I'm like, this is for sure a first down. Like they're on like the 20. They're on their own 20 or 25, and they're just gonna go out like. Fuck you, dude. I think
it was Jimmy Garoppolo at the end of the game. They showed one of the final drives, and it said 3 first downs on this drive, and 2 of them were because of penalties. Just like one of their final drives. It's like, how can you be doing this?
I mean, you're just not gonna forget winning the bet, forget covering the -3. You're not gonna win a football game with that kind of shit happening. Like it's just not happening. So I just not too happy over here.
Okay, two things in the Cowboys to finish with. To finish, and then 49ers I'll talk about with leading up their meeting with the Packers. Let's start with the Dak run. I'm gonna start because I actually think that this was not a bad play call. Overall, poorly executed because I think Dak ran a little bit too long, and then Cowboys fans will say the game was rigged because the ref ran into Dak, but he's supposed to know that you're handing the ball to the referee. I mean, how long have you been playing this game? So it's not college. Actually, I want to talk on that too, actually, but the whole thought process was it was like the Herbert touchdown to Palmer in the 4th quarter of the Raiders Chargers game. It was 22 yards to the end zone. He sees 20 yards instead of 40 yards. His quarterback can throw like a line drive laser beam type, like fit something somewhere type throw from 20 yards out as opposed to 40. With like these are completely different play calls from 20 yards out to 40 yards out. So I didn't hate it. I thought it was a good call considering, of course, it was a sideline defense.
And I saw him take off too, and I said, "Oh, that's pretty good." There's going to be one play.
Yeah, I just rewatched it. So it was a great run, but he went down. Like he slid at 8 seconds. The clock literally hit 8 seconds as he slid. The ref was just booking it, but like you're supposed to turn
so far behind.
Yeah, he's so far behind. Like the ref was on fucking Mars. Like not that who knows if they would have converted that 20. It was like a 24 yard chance to get there. But to your point, it's not a 4 vertical scheme from 24 yards. It's a post dig, like all these different routes they could have ran within that 20 yard range is a whole different play call. So I don't mathematically, I don't disagree with the play. I just think it's so close. It's so bang bang where it's almost like you have to question it, right? It's like even if Dak did give the ball to the ref, even if the ref was closer, like it's close to getting 1 second. Like they have to fight to get that 1 second. So that's the only kind of beef I have with that. But I definitely agree. Like getting inside 25 yards versus 40 yards is a big, big difference on that play. Huge.
It's so significant.
So
because the touchdown that Palmer caught in the Raiders Chargers game, he was able to go all the way to the back of the end zone and come behind the safeties to the middle. And
they lose him.
And he just fit it in that seam. And in a 40-yard play, there's none of that. Like the only thing you could do is throw a ball short of the end zone. Otherwise, you're just chucking a Hail Mary. Like that's
the thing is the defense. They coach the defense to play to get back to the goal at a 40-yard situation. Get back to the goal line. No watch in front of you. So get your backs. The Palmer example, he literally dug behind the guy's vision. No one saw him. He had a window. Like that's not happening at 40 yards. So that's why I like the effort they were trying to do. Like the ideas there. I just think the time on the clock wasn't enough. So it's a tough call for me. Even if they did get it spotted quick enough, it would have been really close.
Yes.
Anything so it's like college football, right? In college football, if you don't have 3 seconds left on the clock, right? You're under 3 seconds. They don't let you spike it, right? So
is that a rule?
Some type of rule where it's clear cut that you're under that time. I know we hate more rules. It's shitty. Like it seems like they can fuck it up more, but something like that would have made it better. But also one of my buddies said to me, why does the ref have to touch the ball? I was like, it's pretty fucking obvious. They need to spot the ball where he was actually down. Like they just make it up where they put the ball, right?
Yeah, I know. The ref having to touch the balls is definitely a ridiculous thing, but it also a necessary thing because I mean,
the ref moved it back too. You see him like he got the ball and then the move pushed the center back.
And then you realize the line wasn't moving. He just put it fucking back.
Yeah, just moved him back.
Could you imagine the carnage of the ref didn't have to spot the ball? His team are just hustling to the line. They're like, that was close to the first, but I'll decide it for the ref. I'll just stick it another 4 inches farther and snap it, and it'll be first down instead of fourth down.
That'd be awesome.
The other thing from what you said with the college side is I saw somebody, I can't remember who it was, blue check mark tweet, that they hate the final 2 minutes. They think the final 2 minutes in the NFL are the worst of any sport. He didn't really describe why. I saw a reply from him.
That's cap, bro.
Yeah, I thought it was. I think he wanted the rules to be more like college in terms of the clock stops every time the chains are moved. What do you guys think about that, the potential of that rule change? My thought is that we don't need to give offenses even more of an opportunity just to get back into a game. If they're down late with 40 seconds left, I want it to be very hard for them to win a football game if they're down by 6 points.
I think it kind of almost ruins college football because of stopping the clock every time that late in the game, right? It's hard it's not real football. Like you shouldn't, if you're down in bounds, the clock should keep going, like no matter what.
Yeah, I'm with you. What are they gonna do next? Change to 1 foot in bounds? Like like, you know what I mean? Like keep the rules as they are. I don't know who the hell that guy was, but I don't know what you're watching. That's kind of usually my favorite part of the game is the end. So I don't necessarily agree with.
No, I'm just saying how it goes through is probably.
No, I'm not. I'm agreeing. I'm just saying, like, what is that guy saying? Like,
if I'm thinking about the other sports, if I'm thinking about the NBA, the NHL, the NFL, and the Major League Baseball, I'd have to say baseball's pretty good because it's a very high leverage moment and it's kind of one-on-one. There's nothing candy ass about the ninth inning of a baseball game, really. It's just one-on-one type deal. Basketball kind of depends. Like if it is a 1 point game, it's fantastic. But if it's a 6 point game, then you kind of want to pull your hair out.
Galore, Same with hockey too, empty netter, unless it's like a one, you know what I mean? Like all this shit happens unless it's a good game.
Hockey in a 1 goal game is good. It's good. It doesn't, there's not a lot of times that I find that those, final minute empty net converts into anything. So it's a little bit anticlimactic. But I mean, the NFL with the clock not stopping, controlling timeouts, I think it's fun. I don't know how you can call it bad. Okay. I'll be honest, last game of the weekend, Chiefs beat the Steelers 42-21. Oh, actually, wait, one more thing. I forgot about these two things with the finishing this 49ers Cowboys game. You mentioned about McCarthy and Kellen Moore. I think both Moore and Quinn might be gone. And that's the biggest thing for McCarthy is that he would now have to replace these guys. And Quinn was a godsend for him. I mean, he was the best DC available once he lost his job. And Moore's obviously been around before McCarthy, right? Yeah, Moore's been around before McCarthy. So he's got a tall task if he loses both of those guys.
Yeah, he's fucked. Probably. Why don't you just make Dan Quinn the head coach?
Relegate McCarthy. What are you going to do with him, bro?
Why did
fire him?
What gives you the sense that, I mean, Dan Quinn seems like a good players coach, but I mean, he lost his job a year ago. What's changed?
You still call the defensive plays, right? You can still do that. But
yeah.
I mean,
I think
Dan
you just
Quinn
give him the
deserves.
title and you find another guy. Like McCarthy's useless there.
Dan Quinn deserves a job, a head coaching job. I'm on that boat. I think we talked about that before, but I don't know if they're going to do the old switcheroo in Dallas. They got to try something, Abe. I got to tell you, they got to try something down there, but I don't know if that will happen.
Not the one.
If he does lose both coordinators, that would be crazy though. What do they do? You know what I mean?
That's what I mean. They would be in a bad spot.
That would be the last guy you want is Mike McCarthy trying to call anything for offense or defense. Yeah, no way.
And then to wrap up, I did want to mention for the 49ers heading into this game against Green Bay, Nick Bosa went down with a concussion. They play on Saturday as well. So they played Sunday. They now play Saturday, short time period.
Oh, they'll get him cleared. They'll get him cleared. The NFL, are you kidding me? They're
some of the tweets about Nick Bosa are fucking hilarious.
Dude, I saw like some crazy ones this morning. We'll probably keep it off air, but
can you guys speak to that for a moment? Because I saw some tweets that I
he
really
loves
didn't understand.
Donald Trump. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Big Make America Great Again guy. So
okay.
That's where the jokes originate.
Yeah,
all right. Better
that's
left
where
off.
I was. Yeah.
Then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Avery.
Fred Warner as well had an ankle injury too. So if they're without both of those guys, those are the two best defensive players on their team. That could be a problem going to Lambeau. So I wanted to mention that. Make sure people keep an eye on that heading into this week. As Avery said, go ahead, Sandy.
Oh, I just said I'm ready for that game preview.
Yeah, I know.
I'll be ready.
As Avery said, the quote unquote best game of the week, the Chiefs 42, Steelers 21. This game was absolutely terrible. The Steelers averaged 1.6 yards per play at halftime.
Electric, bring him back.
I won't say anything more if unless it's needed to. I'll hand it off to you, Avery. If you have some exciting words to say about this game.
They should have scored 72 points in this game, the Chiefs. If they would have scored at all in the first quarter, they maybe 100 points they would have scored. Fuck's sake. Ben, that was awesome. It's time for him to go. It was beautiful. He's dead.
He's
the team has to hate him. Like,
so dead.
Disgusting offense. But it was nice to see him throw a couple touchdowns.
2 touchdowns, no receptions. Debate that, Avery. That sounds like a guy that's ready to come back.
I agree.
Sleep on it.
I was thinking about
you think Big Ben hits
worse options at quarterback.
No, imagine Big Ben's head hitting the pillow last night. He's like, I'm going to do it again. I'm coming back. I guess imagine.
That was awesome. We made the
let's go. I'm ready for another one, another 9-7 year. But yeah, overall, this was disgusting. Deontay Johnson, this is funny though. Before the game, I wrote this on a blog because I had him as one of my receivers to put in your lineups this week. He actually said, if you're not on the bandwagon now, don't get on after we win. That was a direct quote. I'm like,
before the game?
Oh, it was like Tuesday last week. I gotta set. I'll send it to you, but it was just like it was a direct quote. He goes, if bandwagoners, if we win this week, you're not allowed to jump on. It's basically what he said. I'm like, bro, you don't think the Chiefs are like Mahomes, and they're all laughing in the locker room. Like, we're about to go put up 50 on these guys right now.
Yeah.
But, nothing much to say for me though, really, other than that.
Did you guys see the tennis balls?
No, I heard Deontay warming up.
He was catching tennis balls.
You really gave up on this game early, Sandy. I can't blame you.
I went to watch. I was watching Ted Lasso by the third quarter, bro. I was over. I had a long day of football.
So they showed his pregame of him catching tennis balls, and then they just. It's funny because they're showing it. And they were saying he says it. Collinsworth was saying how it trains his eyes, and then they go from that, cutting from that pregame stuff to the low light of an earlier drop because he was so bad in this game. He had a I think it was a legal formation. I can't remember the penalty. It might have been no. It was a what's the word? Not offside. Holy crap!
Legal shift. Like he didn't come.
Moving early. What the hell am I? A false start. Damn it!
Moving early.
He had a 5.
Is that a CFL penalty?
No,
moving early 5 yards.
Yeah, that's how I describe it. I was completely lost for words. But he took a 5-yard penalty for a false start. And then the very next play was third down. They threw it to him and he dropped it. It was kind of like a moment where he was like, yeah, guys, I'm not done making this game significantly worse for us. Back-to-back plays. It was great. He was terrible. I was like, maybe if you want to catch like something the size of a tennis ball with your bare hands, the outfield in cricket is probably a better option, right?
Yeah.
That would kind of align a little bit better.
Maybe people would jump on the bandwagon there, but not for the Steelers, I guess, this week.
Yeah. The defensive score, I thought it like woke up the Chiefs. They're like, okay, yeah, this would kind of be embarrassing if these guys beat us. Let's get to it here.
It's funny because I had Chiefs -7.5 first half. I see the TJ. I'm like driving home back to watch it. All I see on my phone is TJ Watt running in for 6. I'm like, this is dead. And then touchdown. And then one right before the half, another touchdown. I'm like, the Chiefs, that was what they needed though. That was probably like the best thing that could have happened to them. Cause like, Big Ben's not driving down and scoring. So, when it actually matters. So that was a big play that really sparked the offense up for the Chiefs.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was really funny. They showed the Big Ben kind of recapped his career, right? So 2 Super Bowls. Then they said he's the most sacked player of all time. And then they said how many yards he threw for. They just put it in there that he's been sacked by far more than anyone else. Like,
did you see
Hall of Fame numbers?
Yeah.
They had a graphic up of Brady. Was it Peyton? I think it was Brady, Peyton, and
I thought that was fake. I saw that on Twitter.
Was it fake?
I'm not sure because I was kind of like doing both by the end of the game, but there's the playoff like yards, right?
It was yards. It was yards, and it was Brady, Peyton, and him, and he was like less than half of what Brady's had in his career. I'm like, why is this being shown? It might have been somebody must have made it because I did not see it on the broadcast. I did see it on Twitter too because
it's gotta be fake.
I was starting to work on
he had like 5,000 yards. Big Ben did in the playoffs.
Yeah, and Brady had like 12,000 or whatever it was. The tribute. I mean, look, you sickos, you're happy. You got the old man out there for one last game, and he sucked. He couldn't compete. We could have had Herbert. We could have had Jonathan Taylor. Instead, we got that, and that game was terrible. The game was awful, and it was Sunday night. Yeah, for some. We already previewed this game, but quickly, it's Monday. The game will be on probably whenever you guys are watching this. It's probably just about to start. Cardinals and Rams. The line's dropped a bit now. It's 3.5, 49.5. Do you guys have any kind of thought on this game beyond what we talked about earlier this week?
I have a lean. I have a 1-unit play. So most of my plays this weekend were 2-unit plays other than my props. But I do like the Rams I went to 3.5. I took a -3.5 for a unit. So not sitting here saying it's my favorite bet of the weekend, and certainly not. I think this game has the potential to be the game of the weekend now. I think this could be a really, really good football game. I actually said on our NFC preview that this would be the game of the week. I still have hopes for that. I don't have a lean on the total, T-Mac. I remember you did you have something? I thought you did.
No, I don't like this game. I don't know.
It's the third time they played this year, third time. You never could be a gritty, like the trend about the divisional unders, but it's the playoffs. I don't know how that sticks, but I'm not really leaning anywhere on the total personally.
One thing that I wanted to bring up from the betting side this weekend was I was really, really perplexed by the line movement on that Eagles game. The total's
down
one thing. The total bounced way back, but the one thing you always have to think about if you're wanting to be a really well-informed bettor is the way the books see or are looking at things they always look at it from the entire slate. And up to that point, it had been the Patriots or the Bills covering and the Bengals covering. So 2 favorites covering. Mm-hmm. So you would think that the liability in terms of parlay liability on favorites continuing to winning the first 2 games, that would tell me that the Buccaneers spread should have gone up and it came down. So obviously they got a lot of respected money on the Eagles. That's why the spread came down. So I thought that I was thinking the Eagles from that information had a really good shot here.
Oh my! So I was up early. It went from 8.5 to 7. I saw it 7 at some shops, and I'm sitting there with the Eagles ticket in my hand. I'm like, this is a gift. Like I'm like, this is going to be great. And then usually when that happens, it is great because they want, I would think more liability to be on the Bucs. It ended up being reasonably split, I thought, but the fact that it jumped that late towards kickoff, I was pretty happy, and then got shut up real quick by the Buccaneers, to say the least. Yeah, pretty surprising though.
Yeah, just a kind of a closing note on the betting side. Again, we'll be back with more game previews for all of these divisional round matchups. Once Rams and Cardinals play, we'll know who's playing the Buccaneers in the second round. So be sure to tune into those videos. We'll have those out early this week. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel. If you enjoyed, we'll have tons of content all throughout the playoffs. I'm looking forward to a Super Bowl episode, getting Jeremy in here, getting his really, really well-informed takes on the Gatorade shower, all that good stuff. So thank you guys for watching. We'll see you later this week.